delete the last line.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna try this again. Let's see if we can get our crowd back. You still not gonna get on live with me? Please share it. Thank you. Okay, so I don't think Stefan's gonna get on live with me, but I wanted to test out our new little ring light, and we just got done watching Judas and the Black Messiah. So I don't know if you guys seen the movie yet. And I will say that there's technically not going to be any spoilers too much in this, because if you have Google, if you have history books, you will be able to know everything about this story anyway. But I won't try to tell too much about the movie. But I want to chat about this movie, especially for my Midwesterners. This story kind of hits home for us, because this is all about the Illinois chapter of the Black Panthers. Oh, my husband that came on the live finally.
God bless you all.
Oh, you're so sanctified. Why? Can't you just say hello?
Y'all know she's sitting in my throne, so I guess I'll sit next to her.
Anyways, so how many people saw the movie? Like, that's real big to know, first off. So one way that you can see the movie is through HBO Max. So you know how we do, share a username and password if you have it and you're friendly. I hate that, like, my everything is in my glasses and it's bothering me. So I'm going to go blind for a second because it's annoying me. But anyways, or you can go to the movies. Most theaters around here are open and they're showing it. I even know that the dine-in theater in Chicago on State Street is actually back open. So if you feel like eating and watching a movie, you can go on State Street or Michigan and watch the movie. But anyway, so first things first, William O'Neal, Bill O'Neal, how did nobody ever jump him? Like, how did Buddy live to the interview? Like, please let me know. Like,
speaking of that, I just realized I left my gun in the car. I got to get my gun.
I wish a neighbor would. God be with the saints of this apartment complex, cause yeah. But how did Buddy, like, nobody jumped him?
No, seriously, I'm gonna go get my gun.
Okay, like, I'm real shocked by that. Like, nobody jumped him, but it was crazy to find out that dude committed suicide after the Eyes on the Prize part.
Did you see the stuff that dude said?
Well, this is the thing, though. Okay, so if you get a chance, watch Eyes on the Prize 2. Okay, so we know there's Eyes on the Prize, but there's Eyes on the Prize Part 2. And watch the interview. That's when he kind of, like, gave his encounter. And they asked him, like, how would you talk to your son about this? Buddy was so disrespectful. Talking about, I'm going to let history tell the story because I'm just like every other armchair revolutionary. Like, my man, who are you talking to like that? You know, so... But y'all really need to watch that movie. I really feel bad for Fred Hampton Jr. He never got to meet his father. He never got to hug his father, love on his father. That's like, to me, real terrible. You know, he has to, like, live his memories through his mother and those that know him, you know, and didn't have to fill no big shoes. I mean, literally, you had one of the most prolific fathers of the 70s, well, 60s and 70s. He died in the 60s. Let me see. What's some other things you liked about the movie?
Well, the thing that stuck out to me is how grimy our government is. Listen, I'm transparent. These folks is brutal. Jail wasn't enough. So let's just tell you right now, jail isn't enough. That's why they let us kill us black folks. Jail's not enough. That's what they said in the movie, in the documentary. He was already sentenced to go back to jail for 5 years.
Y'all know I can't see. Oh, hey, Danila. Hey, Mrs. Grant.
Yes.
She on there.
So the FBI clearly stated that's not good enough. 5 years in jail is not good enough. We want his life.
Well, I mean, they even said that, you know, but we kind of knew that. First off, Hoover was the devil. I don't think he made it in, but it's really not my opinion, or who cares. But Hoover was the devil, and he had it out for black people. And it's, like, really sad that he had to run out some of our greatest leaders out of this country. Breaking up families. I mean, it was just awful. Like, literally, people are just asking what's in the Constitution to apply to them. And by asking that, they have to die. Like what? Like, we can't seriously just have peace, progress, equity, all this.
Not as a black nation, we can't. We talking about being... Let me watch myself. I don't know where this video gonna go.
It don't matter.
All right.
They know you married to me. And, like, anyways. But no, and then, just seeing... Now, one thing I did like is that they did show that black women were involved in the struggle. So many times when we talk about the civil rights movement, we talk about the black power movement, we talk about everything, we always talk about the men. Men. But women were as down in the trenches as the men, if not more. I mean, women, first off, we fuel every movement. There's not a movement that you can name that doesn't have a black woman behind it, pushing it. So I was really glad that they did shed light on black women in the struggle.
One thing for me, I say, and it does not have nothing to do with church, but the church scene was very powerful for me. Like that speech, all the things that were happening during that time of the story, like to bring it all into a church house. Mm-hmm. I said, man, who let these folks have their church? I'm like, this had nothing to do with church, but they were in a church building. And his speech that he said in that church building, it was like, man, that hit home. Like some of the things I was saying, I was like, hey, man, you right, man. And it's still prevalent today. Mm-hmm. Still happening right now.
I'm sorry, I'm blind. I'm probably squinting a mess.
Ain't nobody commenting. I've been looking at the comments.
It's not even that. The fact that I can't see, it just makes it naturally squint. Like, I see, but I don't see. I'm trying to think about some other things. Now, one thing that I did like is that they showed the power of the West Side of Chicago, the community rallying against, coming together. Shout out to them highlighting what Fred Hampton did, like the Rainbow Coalition. Like, y'all be sometimes talking about Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson stole that, and I'm so glad they finally showed that it was Fred Hampton that brought whites, Latinos, Asians, and black people all together on the West Side of Chicago. Like, that was really powerful, showing that even white people who, they carry the Confederate flag, because, they feel like that's their Southern history or heritage or whatever.
They even say that in the movie.
Yeah. But he was able to break it down to them about that flag and what it means and different things like that. And they still respect him and still want to be part of the movement. Because, as they were killing black people, they were killing white trash too. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were still beating white trash in the street. And they said they tired of getting beat in the streets too. They were killing our Latino brothers and sisters. So it was like really dope seeing like the Brown Berets and people like that. Like, that was hot because, a lot of times we see now it's hard to see movements be very united amongst the minorities and the races, but showing that once upon a time in the most segregated city in the world, Chicago is extra segregated in a lot of ways. A lot of people don't like to talk about that. And I mean, we even see that here in Indiana. I mean, even Dr. King, when he came up, he got his behind whooped when he came up north. They was whooping him in the South, but he was used to those beatings. But he came up north and we bust his head in because racism is so much different in the North. A lot of times people try to ignore what black people in the North went through. Like, yeah, they came from up South to the North thinking it was free and it was better, but it was a whole different type. Like, it's not better in the North, and so I think that it was, like, really dope, that they show, like, that type of unity, because people kind of stay with their own people, their own side, whatever. Like, we don't got much unity in the North, and we ain't really that respective of each other. The color of your skin do matter up here. Point blank, period. The way that you articulate your words determine if you're going to get better treatment as a Negro or not. Point blank, period. If you speak correct English or not, is our other minorities like Latinos and Asians, if they speak the white man's English, they might get better respect. We have, what do they want to call them, microaggressions. It's just racist up here. Bump microaggressions. It's late. But yeah, I think one thing that I liked about the movie is that I love how they show the romance of Miss Johnson and Fred Hampton. I thought that was really nice because a lot of times she's just known as, like the mother of his child. Some people report as his fiance. They did not show that the movie wasn't confirmed, but just seeing like they had a little love story, that was nice because there is love within the revolution.
Well, one thing I wanted to elaborate on, because I think it's very prevalent in the time that we live in, is let's go to the scene where the dude was hurt. They killed his friend. They murdered his friend. He had got shot. He was in the hospital recovering fully. And they took him to another hospital and murdered him. Physically murdered him.
They took him to Killer County.
Yep. And the word got out. The dude was hurt. And I think even now in our communities, this is something we see every day. It might not be to the certain extent of what he did, but a lot of our brothers, a lot of our family members are hurt by the person that has been close to them and that has died. I mean, I didn't do the things that this young man done, but I have a story as that. I told my wife before, I had a friend growing up who was one of my close friends. Now, we didn't have the same lifestyle, and his lifestyle took him down the road. He ended up getting killed, and it hurt. That shook the whole town. But we have to find ways to cope, ways to deal with things. I mean, I understand the dude's frustration, his hurt, but I think I was counting. I said I think he killed like 3 or 4 police officers, and then after he killed the last one, and I think that might have been the one he thought that killed that dude, because he shot him point blank period in the head. He stood there and let them murder him. He stood there and said, I done what I wanted to do. Kill me.
Yeah, and I do agree, Mrs. Grant, that, it was a lot of Black death. That was very, very, very much a very much big part. Oh, I can't speak English, but a very big part of the movie.
Daniela, you said Miss
No, that's Daniela's twin.
Oh, well, you called her Miss Grant. I've been trying to...
Because that's her new name.
Well, I know I see it on our refrigerator. We'll be there.
Oh, Jesus. Anyways, Mrs. Grant. Yes, it was a lot of death. I think every time I saw someone that looked like me get shot, it was just horrific. It made me cringe. I literally grabbed Estefan 1,000 times. And yes, the target audience, is who. And tried to target to us who are militant, finally having a Black Power Hollywood movie. But yeah, it was very sad. A lot of people, and yes, they were aged. Sometimes, I think we forget that. We forget how young.
I mean, he died at 21?
He was 21. But even those that he worked with, I think a lot of times we do forget how young our soldiers were.
That gives us even another reason to look at how powerful Black people are. Look what they did in their youth. At the young age, feeding 300 to 400, look, they say a day they were feeding children, 300 to 400 children a day at that age. Mm-hmm. I mean, look what we could do as a community of Black young men and women if we just come together.
But we see that now, even the Black Lives Matter movement, other movements in our communities, individual movements that don't get the recognition, it's full of young people. And I don't mean to make this anyway Christian, but I'm reminded of a scripture that tells us that God calls the young because they're strong and the old because they're wise. And so in our youth, we're the most powerful that we are, and in our youth, we have so much passion, and that's some of the best time to harness it. I think about even my own life, so many different things that I did for my community, for my community at large. It was within my youth because I was so passionate, even now, I do curb my passion in a different way in how I fight against injustice, and for my community. Now that I'm college educated, now that I have a job, I can work within my community. I can push resources, that I couldn't do when I was 13, when I was 16, when I was this age. I didn't have the voice that I have now at 27, or whatever, because of X, Y, and Z. And so, yeah, their ages was very, very powerful. And I think that's powerful that our young people have a movie or have a visual to show them that you're never too young to impact change. A lot of times we like to show young people that start businesses and are graduating college at 13, which are excellent. I'm not knocking it. Please show more. But sometimes it's great to see young people that made change. You know, like we don't tell our students enough about Ruby Bridges. You know, we don't tell enough about Little Rock 9. You know, we tell some of the same civil rights stories all the time, but there's so many unsung heroes that we forget about. You know, we need to think about the people that was sticking it to the police, those that was on the front line, you know, doing major things, you know, that was risking their lives. I mean, I was watching this movie and I was like, in all of my, you know, of what I do, I'm like, can I really, you know, risk my life for the cause, you know?
Right, and then you could elaborate on the part where the things that the Black Panthers did are still active in the government to this day.
Yeah, and that's something. Now that's something I tell people every day about how the government stole from the Black Panthers. So they labeled the Black Panthers as a terrorist organization that is literally terrorizing America. Yet you take everything that they stand for and turn it into social service. So instead of letting this group, this community action group, continue the work that they're doing and provide them more resources and take it global, you kill them out, steal their values, steal everything they stand for, and then whitewash it, if whatever the term you want to use, government wash it, you know, whatever. And, you know, we think about WIC. We think about the fact that kids can eat free breakfast, now free lunch and as well. And then even now within Corona, I know here in Michigan City, not only do the kids get free breakfast and lunch, they also give the kids food over the weekend so they can eat even though they're not at school. This is all the Black parents want to do, to make sure that kids in Chicago was not going to school going to school hungry.
Yep.
Just making sure they had some oatmeal, making sure they just had something tangible to eat. Helping mothers, not just single mothers that don't have a husband like most social service is. They were trying to help mothers in need, help children in need get the things they need, like nutrition, making sure that they had the milk that they needed, make sure that they had parenting classes. You literally jack from this terrorist organization. But like I said, you know,
same organization that the man, even hours before knowing he was getting incarcerated, took his last money and said, I want this medical center built on the west side.
Yes.
Didn't know he was dying, but he knew he was going to jail.
I feel like he always knew death was evident, because if you look at many of our revolutionary leaders, right before they died, if you ever look at their last speeches, you can tell they knew death was coming. You can tell they knew that, you know, there was nothing that they can do to avoid this next thing that was coming. You know, but they were just going to do what they can do, speak on what they could, you know, before they left here. If you look at the speeches of Malcolm X, look at Martin Luther King, we look at Fred Hampton, you know, we look at, if you even look at like your leaders within your own town, like I think about, you know, even in my own city, we have the Hope Center, you know, and, you know, the leader of our Hope Center, she fought until cancer took her out for the people. I think about my mentor, Kimberly Kiner, who was one of the only minority lawyers in our county. She fought literally until she died for our community. So like, not even just looking at our international revolutionary leaders, but even those within our community, you know, and I try to always keep it home, you know, and I see, like I said, I see within my own community, you know, and it's just so unfortunate, you know, that this is a part of our history, but it should empower us even more to continue the fight, you know, because we're not, you know, in the land of victory right now. We're not in Canaan land. You know, we're not flowing with milk and honey. I don't care how many times you see Black folks traveling the world, how many times he says making multi-million dollars.
I don't care who in the White House, who close to the White House.
Yeah, you know, what they say, we ain't free until everybody free. That's 100. You know, it doesn't profit me to be up here and my brothers and sisters down here. You know, we need to be making sure that everybody can reach up there or reach, you know, wherever. And so I really recommend that y'all watch Judas and the Black Messiah. Now, for y'all hard-on Christians out there that don't like the word Messiah used outside of Jesus Christ, get over it. This word, Black Messiah, is not in any way, shape, or form trying to knock Jesus. I have to give this disclaimer because I have met people like y'all that I'm talking to. But this was a term known for a Black revolutionary leader that was reaching the masses. You know, they always kind of... It's interesting how everything somehow always plays to the Bible somehow. In the children of Israel, somehow that story, you know, just resonates within different communities. And I think that would be something nice to talk about. Because as y'all know, I'm really big into like Black-Jewish relations and Black Islamic relations and things like that. I think that those are great conversations that we should have to see our similarities. But yes, I recommend this movie. There's so many things that we can talk about when it comes to this movie, but I don't want to talk about too much. Like I said, that if you're interested, please do your research. There's so much to be talked about. You know, there were 7 survivors from the killing of the assassination of Fred Hampton. It was really nice to hear that.
And I believe every last one of them were arrested that night as well.
Yes, they all were arrested and they were charged with various charges, including attempted murder, because there was one shot that was fired from their side. And then also, which I think is very interesting that we don't talk about, but the families of the 2 Panthers that were killed and the 7 survivors, they sued and they actually won, but it took them 12 years to win.
And they won half of what they were suing for.
Not even half, because you know they sued for like 14.
Yeah, it was like
and they got 1.
14.
Yeah, they sued for 14 million and they got 1 million.
Yeah, 1,080,000 some thousand, something like that.
Yeah, it was a extremely less amount than they sued for originally. And y'all know Mayor Daley, Daddy Daley, he a terrorist all day, every day. We already know that he worked with the FBI to do a lot. So who cares about Richard Daley and his daddy? All of them can just, you know. Anyways. So I'm really glad that they called out Daddy Daley on his mess. And so, you know, these were some times that really changed our communities. We live in the Chicagoland area, you know, and a lot of that was ripple effects on our side of the border. So yeah, like I said, watch the movie. Have conversations with your family. Have conversations with your children. They need to see this movie. You know, they need to see the reality of their history, because if you don't know where you come from, you're not going to know where you're going. And that is the one of the most true statements I ever known in my life. You cannot understand your future. You can't see clearly where you're going if you don't know where you have been, where your family has been. You know, that's why we need to not stop telling stories of slavery, not stop telling stories of the civil rights movement, not stop telling stories of Reconstruction. Let our kids know that there was once upon a time, you know, where Black people were doing big things. But they were doing things so big that what happened? They had to come and tear us down. Like, you tell your kids how Jim Crow came to be. I've met so many children that don't understand how Jim Crow came to be. They think that we were slaves and then was thrown into Jim Crow. Tell them about the Reconstruction period. Tell them about the 80s and crack and different things like that. How that the government infiltrated crack into our communities and brought in guns. Like, let's talk about the real. Don't let your children think these are crazy conspiracy theories. This is proven facts. Like, this is not a joke. You can literally meet FBI agents and informants that will tell you, yo, this is what we did. Even the fact that I know a lot of people talking about he only got $300, we actually found out through this movie that not only did they offer him a gas station in Maywood, West Side suburbs, then on top of that, he stayed a part of the Black Panther Party throughout the 70s until it closed down. And then after that, he made almost $200,000 from being an FBI informant. This was a dude that was borderline crackhead. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I was Googling after I saw that what happened to the gas station. So I'm still going to look. If I find out about it, I'm going to definitely post about it. But yeah, like he made a bunch of money off of being an FBI informant and he was just a dude that was boosting cars.
Yep.
Like, dude went from being a booster to being one of the notorious snitches of our time.
And I know you elaborated on it, but I think you elaborated right when I walked away. But like she said, that he assassinated himself after the interview was leaked.
Oh, he committed suicide.
That's why I'm assassinating.
Don't give him too glory. Don't give him too much glory.
He committed suicide. But like, I watched a small snippet of his interview, and that 30 seconds made me mad. I want to go to his grave and dig him up.
Oh, babe.
No, hey, I told y'all I'm gonna be transparent.
I know you're great.
But listen, I want to go to his grave, dig him up, and talk to him one good moment. Me and my 9.
Still fine.
But let me tell you, he had to commit suicide because if he wasn't, he gonna live the next day.
No, he didn't have to. Now look, I know we're very passionate. We do not. We do not condone or support suicide. We want you to live.
Live and not die.
Please
or
live.
You're gonna die one day.
Wait. If you are watching this and you are contemplating suicide,
amen.
We are praying for you. Father God, in the name of Jesus, God, we ask you, God, that those thoughts that come to their mind about suicide, hurting themselves, God, that it be erased. God, let them know that they are loved and they are appreciated and they have much to live for. In Jesus' name, amen. We had to do that because I don't play about that. Suicide is real. Even though we are upset with this man and what he did, suicide was not the answer. But with this being said, now y'all see why the movie is called Judas and the Black Messiah. Because if you remember the story, what did Judas do? Mm-hmm. He betrayed Jesus for what? 12 pieces of silver. And after he betrayed Jesus, guilt overcame him so that he didn't even get to enjoy that money. The Bible say,
watch it now,
that he went and he hung himself. Okay? Judas committed suicide for what? Betraying Jesus.
You gotta hit the see more so I can read her whole comment.
Okay. And so that if you know the story,
right?
You know
we didn't even talk about that second informant.
Oh wait, that is true. This is why I love Mrs. Grant. She owned it. Mrs. Grant is highly educated. She is almost a doctor. I think she's getting a PhD in sociology and African American studies. She's completely fabulous. I love this. But yes, there was other FBI informants. And I'm really glad she brought that out because that was something that we normally don't talk about either. You know, while he had his inside man, because the dude at the end of the day was trying to impress J. Edgar Hoover. Because J. Edgar Hoover made a statement, I want this Negro, basically. We're not going to say the other word, but we want this person. You know, I want him basically dead. You know, and so there was other people, yes. And, yeah, you know, even to check him, you know, and even check with the party, it was very, 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 oh, hey, Jamil. Yes, Jamil, he over there swole. He like, ooh, you just, ooh. But yeah, yes.
You couldn't see none of your arm motions.
But you know, they can see it, you know, anyway, I'm not playing. But yes, that was a big thing too about the other informants, you know, who.
And I was shocked when I didn't see that coming. A second informant. I didn't see it coming.
Well, you know, they're going to check him, you know, to make sure that what he's saying is factual, you know, and that was big. And they had other black informants. The way that
they had that informant set up, what he was saying, he was on the run. So he was jumping from what they call them, chapters? What was they calling it?
Yeah, from other chapters.
From chapter to he was jumping from chapter to chapter, and every chapter he was going to, he was getting somebody arrested for harboring a fugitive. So they had it played out so well. They had it played out so well.
Yeah, and I did think it was very funny. They had Lil Rel, you know, who come from the west side of Chicago. He had played that like pimp.
Yeah,
that was like still kind of. That was like with the FBI. That was kind of nice seeing a Chicago actor playing in a movie about something that went in Chicago. I think that was really nice.
I ain't gonna lie though, when he pulled out that dude FBI fake ID, that was
yeah. And you know, and that's very true. You know, he was young and he was impressionable. I think that that is something, and I really like that Mrs. Grant is keep on bringing that out. You know, these were all young people. These were young black kids who were frustrated, living in poverty, living in, housing that, was not the best. They just wanted more out of life. They were tired of being mistreated by the police. They were tired of racism. They were tired of sexism. They were just frustrated. This was frustrated black people, black young people who were still hurt from Malcolm X's death. You have to remember, these young people were living off, where their frustration was living off the recent assassinations of our national leaders. Yep. Dr. King died April 9th, 1968. And his death really shocked the world because they murdered him. Mm-hmm. Let's be real.
All of our big people were murdered.
Dr. King did not die over there in Lorraine Motel. Dr. King was surviving. He was going to walk out that hospital. They came back and strangled him, suffocated him. They took him out. He was murdered. Okay? It wasn't no stray bullet that took out the king. Okay? And then, they killed Malcolm X. So black people were tired of religion, because there was no safety within Islam or Christianity. Because if you look at the funeral of Fred Hampton, the young lady who was giving the eulogy that was speaking, she was talking about how she was basically, I don't want to say she was dissing prayer, but she was saying that prayer is not going to save us. Because she was like, if Fred Hampton can get killed, in his bed resting, yep, what's going to happen to you on your knees? If you a frustrated young black person that can't find peace in anything, that's going to make you even more frustrated because now you have nothing to depend on. You can't depend on other black people because it was black people taking black people down. You can't depend on any type of religion. You can't depend on your family. It's like, who do you run to? Might as well take out the enemy. And if the enemy has a face, if the pig got a face, as they said, slaughter the hog is how they thought. Because before, I don't think black people could imagine killing police officers. But because they were so young and frustrated, and all their life they have been dealing with mistreatment, and they have never seen peace, never seen prosperity. They were just at a place where it was like, forget it. Let's go to war.
You have to remember that part of the scene where they raided their headquarters. And then
multiple times,
these young people had to literally sit there and watch these police officers burn their headquarters down.
The community saw it. They did it in front of the whole community. So while they're thinking that the Black Panther Party is a propaganda, propaganda organization just feeding the community with lies, they're doing things in front of the people. So the Black Panthers wouldn't even have to open their mouth, because the police was already doing it for them, and so I think that is very interesting, and it's like one of the mothers of the Panther, I think it was Jacob. It
was the second one.
Yeah, his name was Jacob Winter, I believe that's his last name, but I know his name was Jake. But his mom was talking about, she made a really good comment. She was like, do you think that the mother of those slain officers are getting harassing phone calls that I'm getting? And that brings a really great light to what goes on to the family that's left here of the black kids who are killed by police. Because there are people that find out their number. They harass them. They tell them that their kids were terrorists. Their kids were a gangster. Your kid was this. Your kid was, a spook. All these nasty terms they call their child. This is a child they carried for 9 months, that they raised, that they loved on. They know the goodness of their child. And you're calling them and telling them their child is basically a spawn of Satan. But you wouldn't dare do that to the white police officer, wife and mother. So that's also showing how jacked up the world is, that even in our grieving, they have no respect. There was just so many beautiful points about that time period and how it resonates in time now. That we're still dealing with a lot of these different things in our community. And it really comes to the question, is there a solution? Is there an answer? Is this something that we're going to forever deal with until whatever all of this ends, or to our end? Because it's like, when will this stop? We thought that if the world saw what was going on, that it would stop. That was one of the biggest reasons why people were encouraging police coverage of the civil rights movement. We thought that, hey, if Walter Cronkite, whatever his name, Cronkite, whatever I say his last name, the dude that everybody loved, was saying something about what was going on, or if it was going to TV in Europe, maybe somebody, maybe Queen Elizabeth could take a detour from visiting all her little colonies in the Caribbean and stop in the United States and say, hey, we saw what's going on. What can we do to change this? I don't know why we would think a perfect world, something like this might happen. But,
that's correct. Happen for black people.
Yeah. And we see even now, it's so hard to get a solidarity movement just around our issues, because when we try to fight for our issues, everybody else say, well, I'm going through this. We understand that, but right now we're talking about us. Rally behind us right now, because we're always rallying for someone else, and so there's a lot of stuff going on. I will tell everybody, read up on a lot of things that's happening in our government. We know the Equality Act is getting ready to get passed. We know that Biden has a new proposal about an 8-year path to citizenship. We know things are going on with the economics of our country. Look at how different gas companies are literally profiting from the winter storm in Texas, while they're getting rich off of this winter storm and providing no help. We literally are seeing people's houses being destroyed by this winter storm. Culture World Missions is doing a drive to help those in Texas. So if you want to know more about it, I've already shared the flyer, but I'm going to share it again. Support those who are supporting those in need. We know there are national organizations like Beyonce and things like that are doing donations, but support local efforts as well, because people who are doing local drives hit the community faster than these national organizations. No shade to Bay and all them people that's doing good things, but support those that's in the streets, those who are impacting people every single day. Pray for the homeless. Please pray for those who are homeless in the winter. This is probably the worst time ever. I mean, being homeless any time of the year is bad, but being homeless now in the cold or in the hottest of the heat is not a good time to be homeless. And so if there's anything you can do to donate, to help get them set up, even if it's one night in a motel, whatever you can do, understand blessing others will bless you. It's not going to hurt you. Putting somebody up in a hotel is literally going out to eat. And you going to eating bad food, because food, takeout, all that is getting worse in Corona. It's folks don't know how to cook no more. Literally, every time we go out, it's a hit or miss these days,
Today was a miss for me.
It was definitely a miss. And it was a miss the other night, too.
It was.
So it's
we went out twice this week, and they both were we could have stayed at home.
Literally could have stayed at home and made some, some ramen noodles would have been better than what we ate. Real talk. And that's just on everything I love. So if you can take the food that you eat with some bad takeout or a bad restaurant food, put somebody up in a motel, continue praying for those who are struggling to survive in this economy. This pandemic has been hitting a lot of our communities really hard. People are barely able to pay their bills, put food on the table. The price of food has gone high. If you haven't known, we are really in a famine right now. I know the news hasn't told you yet, but just let me tell you that we've been in a famine for about 2 to 3 years in this country, if not even more. But I know about 2 to 3 years ago, I realized by watching different things in the news, reading articles, and watching the production of our food, we're in a famine. So stock up your food, not just because it's winter, but because right now, while the prices are good before we turn to a country like Venezuela, where inflation is high, where people are literally paying $1,000 for diapers, I think that you need to stock up. Because like I said, if you haven't noticed, food is going high, the content is is becoming smaller, whatever. Learn how to eat meals that don't require meat, because meat is not what it used to be. Protect yourself at all costs. That's something that we're learning how to do, eating a lot of more meatless meals, learn how different things like that. Get your water up, start stacking that water up, whatever. Start getting off of that carbonated drinks. This is just high time for us to get ourselves together. You need to get your star player in line. You need to get centered. This is the time to cut off all toxic people. Let me tell you something. You want to live life, and you don't want to live life with stress, right? So to not live life with stress, you got to cut a lot of people off, and it might even be family. And yo, that's hard, but who's more important? You or those who are trying to kill you? And when I say try to kill you, they're doing things that's literally putting stress in your body, that's shortening your life expectancy. And then you have people who are literally trying to control your life to the point where they're suffocating you. And they don't realize they're doing it because they're so used to controlling you. Break free. Literally break free. So, and do something with your life. Like, if there's a class you want to take, do it. If there's a job you want to do it. If there's a food you want to try, buy the ingredients, cook it yourself, or go travel to go get it. Just don't cut the joy out of your life. Like, don't do it. Stop playing it safe, take risk, but be smart though. Watch what you drink, watch who you listen to what you have to say off your heart. Stop venting with everybody. Be careful of those, who have your ear, and so, like I said, there was a lot of lessons, that I learned through this movie, just seeing that, Fred Hampton had dreams, he had came to a point where he was okay going back to jail for the 5 years. And he had plans that when he came out of this, because he was so dedicated to the struggle, he was so dedicated to people that he missed out a lot on his own life, but don't be afraid to speak up though, because the thing about it is we're building our legacies. How do you want to leave your legacy on earth? Yes, he died at 21. And yes, he died a very tragic death with 99 shots in his home, basically killing him instantly. And it's like...
And I still believe he got those drugs. I don't think that he didn't get them.
I know, it never confirmed that. So yeah, we never know that part. But, he left a legacy though, and so remember that, there's so much to live for. We wake up every day with another chance to do something right, to do something good. You can make a million mistakes, but you can be forgiven for every single one of them, and you can live a brand new life every single day. Like, never let the mistakes of your past or even 30 seconds ago haunt you the next 30 seconds. Like, literally, you got to let that guilt get off your mind.
That's right.
Like, you got to put a smile on your face, put your good music on, read you a good book, whatever, have you a good laugh, look out the window, enjoy nature. There's so many things to be thankful for, and so just remember that, and cherish those in your life, who love you. There's a lot of people in our life that really don't love us, but those that do love you and they love you, hold them close. Don't let them go. And I speak from experience. I had a lot of things I've been really going through, and it's just been weighing heavy on me to the point where, like, I was feeling really cold-hearted and stoned. I lost a very dear cousin to me this week, and because I was so stressed with other things and different things, I barely could cry. And trust me, it hurt me super deep to know that she is gone. And that's when I realized, okay, I got too much stuff weighing on me. I got to let it go, because I'm losing out on the ability to feel emotions, And so live your best life, y'all. I'm for real. Live your best life. We only got this one life to live. If you believe you coming back, baby, all to you that you coming back. But I know I got this one life, and I'm not going to waste it on whatever, even if it may be true that we come back as something else. I don't want to live. I'm not trying to waste life to come back as a caterpillar. Sorry. Can't live life as an insect. Can't live life as a coffee cup. Whatever you think that we come back as, that's cool. And if that be true, and I come back as a butterfly, oh well. But while I'm a human and I got breath in my body and all this, I'm about to live it up. So get y'all passports together, book that trip. Flights is super cheap. You can go to LA from Chicago in March for $60. Go ahead and book the trip. Go to LA, see something beautiful, get you a passport, and get up out of here. Yes, it's Corona, and we need to be careful, whatever. But there's something that you feel that's pressing you to do it, go do it. So we're not going to keep on boring y'all or whatever, but we thank you for
I'm gonna
everybody.
give the closing remarks.
Oh, excuse
My wife has talked enough.
me.
I'm going to give the closing remarks. But before we close, I just want to say that stay tuned on this week that you'll see the announcement that we will be doing our launch. We were supposed to launch our new ministry, I think it was 2 weeks ago. But y'all, I had to work some overtime. So when it was time for us to record our live, my body was physically drained, so I wasn't able to do so. So we're looking to relaunch that on this week. So be on the lookout for that coming out. And I just want to declare that you're going to live to see it happen. And that's all I got to say.
Yes, and those that want to clarify for what our ministry is about being young, black, blended, and sanctified. So we'll be talking a lot on those topics, how we deal with being a blended family in our 20s, what it's like being young, black, and married, what it's like being young, black, and sanctified, what it's like to be just young, and whatever the topics are, just literally going to flourish from there. Because we get a lot of questions, and we want to just share our world with y'all. You know, we're a very fun, loving family. You know, whatever. We got a 4-year-old that thinks she's 45.
But won't pay rent.
Exactly. She a broke best friend. She got back pay on her rent. She owes 11 months of rent. She ain't paid the water bill. She ain't paid the cell phone bill. Yes, she want to be on, and she sure ain't paid no Wi-Fi bill. But she always trying to get on your Disney Plus. You know. And she leave her baby dolls everywhere. You know, oh, hey, cousin. But yeah, so we'll be talking about our life, you know, and then what it's like being blended, you know. A lot of people, you know, don't know what it's like really being a blended family. And being blended, our version of blended is not everybody's version, so please know that. But we're going to show you what it's like being a blended family in your 20s. You know, a lot of times when you see things about blended families, you see older people, you know, but we're not old. We're in our 20s. We're young and fabulous in our prime.
That's why we still awake now.
You know, but we in our prime, honey. You know, but we are a blended family, and we'll show you what that looks like, you know. And we'll talk about what it's like, you know, also just being a Christian couple, you know, just dealing with those different things, you know, what it's like being young and married, you know.
Young and in ministry.
Yeah, also being young in ministry, like being young people knowing that you have a calling for God and like stepping out on that, and what does that look like? You know, in your calling, especially, you know, when your calling may not look as traditional, you know, as we've presented it, you know, oh, Big Sis Mariah on now. And so, you know, just learn that, even seeing me walking into my title of being a mother, you know, my journey to motherhood is not like others. I became a mother before I was a mother, you know. I was married a virgin, didn't have no kids, nothing, but I came into a marriage, becoming first thing I was a stepmom, but learning that the new term is bonus mom. So learning how to deal with that, and then becoming Mama B, like learning how I became Mama B, and then, you know, like learning what it's dealing like with a miscarriage, you know, your first pregnancy, you know, you're super excited, and then 2 months later you have no baby, you know. So learning how living through that, and even now currently living through the loss of a baby, you know, and what's that like, and like learn about our community and our support group. You'll meet my best friends, and we are a very interesting group. We are 2 Christians and a Muslim, and it's a very interesting mix in how we deal with it. But you'll love my best friends, Daniela and Suleiman. You'll get to meet them and how we became friends in college and different things like that, and how being the married friend in your friend group. So like what we'll be talking about, and like the videos that we'll record, and we trying to get on this YouTube thing so we can like get the message out and do Facebook and all the social media. So bear with us as we learn this social media world, you know, or whatever. But Mariah over trying to get pregnant already. She done put a baby in my stomach. Maybe Valentine's Day worked out. I hope I got a baby. But, you know, we'll just learn, like, you know, what that does to your friend group when someone gets married, you know. So he thought he was getting the last word.
Well, I was low-key just trying to put on table because I knew she'll take it from there. You know, as a husband, my wife is a talker. But if I put the points out, she'll take it.
Don't do that, because you talk a lot too. Don't even go there. You are loquacious as I.
Well, I guess y'all find out who talks the most when y'all watch our videos.
He is loquacious. Just because he let me come through this conversation a little bit, he is loquacious as loquacious come. Okay?
Now tell me, y'all, what y'all think about my baby hair? Do it for the one time. Do it for
I
the
can't stand you. You know.
Yeah.
Yes, y'all, I got my hair straightened. I got it trimmed. I'm not going to cut it any shorter than this, but yes, my husband paid for me to get my hair done. Bria did this. So y'all pray that I keep this silk press alive for at least a week.
It ain't hot outside. She should be able to.
It
Last
don't
time
matter.
she had one, it was hot.
Oh, yeah. Man, my roots came out real. My ends were straight, but I had an afro on top. It was rough. Every morning, it was a new discovery. I just eventually washed it out my hair and went back natural. But yes, so I hope y'all do like this. He is super excited about this hairstyle and everything. But love y'all. If y'all didn't know, we love y'all.
Yes.
And we appreciate y'all for supporting us throughout all of this. And we will see y'all on our next live or recorded video.
I prefer to go live. She wants to record it and y'all watch it, but I prefer to have this.
Well, if we make mistakes.
I prefer to have this conversation like we have now. You know, you guys have comments. I prefer to be able to talk to you and not you listen to me talk.
Yes, that's true. Well, so yes, we will see you guys later. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you haven't, please go see Judas and the Black Messiah.
Share and like.
I
like and
beg you, please watch this movie.
It's going to bless you.
Please. Share the username and password with your people. Just share it. You can change the password after everybody watched it.
That's the truth. Amen.
All right, be a sharer. It's Corona.
I can't tell you how many people got my wife Disney Plus, how many people got Amazon Prime password. And listen, I can't talk about Netflix because we on somebody else's.
I share my stuff, okay? If you trying to watch That's So Raven, I got you. If you trying to watch the Cheetah Girls, I got you. If you trying to watch Cinderella, with the only Cinderella that we recognize, which is Brandy Norwood, I got you. All right, now we acting like a preacher can't get off the live. So we really are going to say bye because my phone, it will die on y'all because it told me a long time ago it was 20%.
All right, see you all soon. Be looking out for the flyer. God bless.